Welcome to the Movie Draft Podcast. I'm Ethan Simi, and I am joined today by my wonderful co-host, Sophie Holsinger.
Hello, everyone.
My other wonderful co-host, Ben Lawhorn.
Do you feel held, Denny?
And our incredible guest for this episode, Marta McFly.
Hello.
I am so fucking mad that nobody said, would thou like to live deliciously? Guys, it was served on a platter. Today we are collaboratively drafting A24 horror films. Marta, welcome back to the pod. How are you?
Hi, it's good to be back. It's been a while since I've been on this podcast, but I just podcasted with you and Ben, a week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, not long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be with the friends.
Not long ago, we talked about a ghost story, a film that might get brought up here. Who knows? I don't know. There could be a case. We shall see. A very funny horror movie, in my opinion. You should go listen to that episode of 24 minutes of A24. Yeah, that was a great time. So, Marta, the last time that you were on this pod, you were on for the A24 Mega Auction Draft, which I kind of unplanned, to be honest, to have you as the only guest back on for the next A24 draft. But here we are. It's happened. So welcome back to A24 hell, I guess.
Yeah, all the time. I love it.
All the time. Sophie, Ben, we a little bit behind the scenes, we actively haven't recorded a draft in 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more, 16-ish days, I think, something like that.
It's been a while for us.
Are you guys good? How are you? Do we remember how to draft? Do we remember how to pod?
I'm shaking off the cobwebs, to be honest. I'm trying to remember how this goes. I definitely have a position that I don't want in this draft because I'm just not ready for it. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm dusting off my mic as well. Did some prep on the subway today, as I do. So
nice. I actually solo potted this 4 times just as an exercise. I won't release the audio, but we'll see if any of those teams come to fruition.
How high did you get first reformed on your own draft? Was it number one?
God.
It was actually first round. It was number 1. Yeah, it was number 1. I was I congratulated myself on such hard, prestigious work.
You did it, Ethan.
You did it. We finally got what we wanted. Yeah, so we're talking about A24 horror here on the pod. This is, I think fittingly so, going to be the last draft of October. So we figured we'd end with a horror bang for sure. Now, of course, there were a lot of ways that we could have gone with horror, but I think that A24 in particular has a very big stamp on the modern, at least what we expect of a modern day horror genre film, in my opinion. That's my attempt at a segue to bring us to the question of the pod is how much of an embellishment, how much has A24 shaped the modern day standards of horror films? Marta, I want to start with you because I know, looking at your letterbox, you've watched a lot of really unique horror films this spooky season. And I think your take is going to be really interesting because A24 is kind of a much more populous style of horror, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, for starters, I love that you've been tracking what I've been watching lately because I've been on this weird Japanese horror trip of watching I don't even know. Just go look.
Sick.
Just go look. But to answer your question, I mean, yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think that a lot of the credit should be given to the filmmakers and just the teams themselves. But I would say that A24, they certainly have the nose to sniff out good films to distribute, because I also feel like we went through kind of a dark period before A24 really blew up when it came to horror. And I feel like they kind of brought back the whole idea of elevated horror, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I feel like elevated horror has kind of become a trigger word for a lot of people over the last 18 or 24 months, very suspiciously.
That's
so
true.
So I wonder if we'll get into that a little bit. So, Sophie, do you agree? Do you think A24 and elevated horror are kind of synonymous now?
Yeah, I would say so. I think A24 has partnered with these just really creative filmmakers who have very unique visions and are very singular. They don't feel like Blumhouse horror films. They feel different. And I don't know if they've like shaped movie standards for better or for worse necessarily, but I think it's been cool to watch the filmmakers that they have stuck by and worked with. And I mean, I'm excited for what's to come because I haven't absolutely hated anything yet.
Okay.
Oh, I have.
Okay.
Sounds like a challenge. You're gonna find what that's gonna be. Ben, that means I'll float the question to you finally, because we're the A24 boys on this pod.
Yes.
Hopefully soon. I know Sophie and I are the Brutal Boys right now. Hopefully soon you can join the Brutal Boys squad as well. I know you haven't seen it yet, but we have obviously a near and dear relationship to A24. We host 24 minutes of A24 together. We have for like 3.5 years. We've pumped out hundreds of episodes talking specifically about A24. And of course, every October we talk about spooky A24 horror movies. I'm curious your take, because you and I are much more like close to this big, vast library that A24 has.
Yeah, I think they've definitely had an influence, but I think for me, the thing that sticks out the most is something Marta said, which is like they have the power to kind of sniff out what's going to be good to distribute. And they also to, ride Sophie's coattails. Like it's interesting to see the directors that they stick with and let them do it again. Cause they've had a lot of like, you and I and anyone that really knows A24, like they have a lot of directorial debuts on there. Like they like getting the first timers. And so it's fun to see who comes back. There's some that we'll talk about today that fall into this. I don't want to like show my cards a little bit, but there's definitely some directorial debuts on here that I'm hoping we talk about.
Oh, interesting. Fascinating. I don't know if I've clocked that. I have a short list. But that leads into my next question. I actually want to crack at this question that I posed to you guys. I think that A24 horror is exactly like all of you said. And I kind of wanted to just like pull out an example of a movie I feel like we're probably going to end up talking about. But the fact that Talk to Me was kind of this big box office hit last year. They found it at Sundance, a directorial debut. Ben, like you mentioned, like they have the ability to find these movies. And I think that's a big portion of it. So although we are doing like an A24 horror collab draft, Film Twitter has recently become cognizant of A24 as a genre, and I just want to very explicitly say like that's not how that works. Marta, what you said, like Sophie, what you guys said, like they're just a distribution company. They just buy movies and they just put them in theaters. Hopefully, fingers crossed, in theaters. If not on streaming platforms, they do their hardest. They come out with cool merch as well. That's another large portion of what they do. So even though like we are casting this wide net of like A24 horror, I do feel like they have kind of a subset of standard that they do employ within their library. And we're going to talk about a lot of these movies, of course. And I think they have a lot in common with a more experimental factor to them, and something that does have the ability to not only elevate the genre, but like this longevity to control the genre moving forward. And I think A24 just has a really good nose for finding those. So I'm excited to talk about this because, as listeners of the pod may know, there is a specific horror movie that I think should qualify for this draft. Is this a conversation we should have now? Like, where are you guys at on this? Should we save this for the draft?
I feel like we've established our opinion on this movie.
I love that you asked me last week as well on the other podcast.
I gotta put my feelers out there. I gotta know what I'm dealing with here. I was trying to get a little pre-gaming going on. I guess we'll save that conversation. It's important for us to work collaboratively, of course, on this collaborative draft. We're going to go over the rules here in a minute. So for any first-time listeners or people coming back to this show that might not remember how it works, we'll go through it. But is it important that we get this list right? Because A24 has a big presence, especially in the film Twitter community, where it's like these are the best ones and everybody knows it. What if we don't? Like, what if we're like In Fabric #1?
Hey, I'm for it. I think there's stuff that belongs on here, even if it's not my jam. I think there's some things that need to be here.
Wow.
Yeah, just
That-
to
that
represent
means a
what
lot.
A24 horror is. Yeah.
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 Okay. So you do think it's important to represent?
Not First Reformed. I do see you wearing your vest. It kind of looks like your suicide vest tonight. I hope that was your costume. You're just Ethan Hawke at the end of the movie, but I don't know that we need to talk about that movie.
I actually am going to take my sweater off halfway through this draft, and you'll notice I'm wrapped in barbed wire.
Yeah.
I have explosives attached to me. Sophie, you think it's important that we get this right, or is it like Sophie ride or die?
No, I mean, I agree with Ben, because there's movies that aren't necessarily my thing, but I think are beloved and like really represent what A24 has done. And so when I was making my list, I wasn't really always going off of just the movies that I might be obsessed with. I mean, I would love for those to be near the top, of course. But there are some movies that I think belong on the list that maybe I wouldn't include in my top 10 necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I again, I'm just gonna state publicly and clearly, I feel like I'm walking into a trap, and I feel like you guys are being really kind, and like all that I'm hearing is like we should do what we feel is important, and we should help each other, and we should get things on there that really represent the spectrum of what A24 horror is capable of. And then what's going to happen? You guys are just going to be like, absolutely not on First Reformed?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty
What
much.
are we doing? Like, what is happening right now? I don't get
Well,
it.
the thing is, I feel like you cleverly like listed, we're doing what, 13? I think it was 13.
13.
And I think that's clever because when I was making my list, I think there were about 7 that I was like, I love these movies. And then everything under 7 is when I started really struggling. And I'm sure all of you guys are the same. Like, I doubt that all of us have 13 A24 horror movies that we love. And we started putting some stuff that may be like second or third rate for us personally. So yeah, I'm curious to see how it unfolds. I doubt that we're all going to be lovers of everything.
Sounds like room for all. That's what I'm hearing.
We'll see.
Room for
We'll
all. Maybe I just hear what I want to hear. Marta, I think you bring up a really interesting point. I was going to talk about this. I'm looking at this board, and I'm looking at my like long. I guess it would be my long list technically. I've written down 37 movies that I feel like
Jesus
are eligible
Christ.
for this.
Wow.
Holy cow.
I said eligible. I didn't say in the running. I just said eligible for this draft.
Okay.
Which I guess you guys have kind of already answered my question of like, how long are your long lists? I guess not 37 long, but I think like 13, 12, and 11 are either going to be a mess or really easy. And 1 through 5 are going to be really simple. And I'm really concerned about 6 through 10. Like, I think 6 through 10 is where things can get really messy and really problematic, and that could really mess up our 1 through 5, especially because there's 37 movies eligible.
37.
How many do you guys have? Why am I?
I
Why
less
out
than
of this
20.
17, and that was really
Wow.
pulling at it at the last few. I was like,
Yeah.
I really hate. Yeah. But I also didn't include movies that I absolutely hate. Like, there's a couple that I would rather leave a blank
important.
spot than include it.
Really?
I feel
Really?
strongly about one.
Could you?
Oh my God.
Do you think we're going to talk about that movie?
I don't know. I feel like none of you guys are fans of it. I'm just guessing. Actually, I don't know.
Okay.
Hop on the fuck it.
Time
We'll
to
do
get
a
to
live
Letterboxd.
research.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, if we don't talk about it, can you please remember it? Because I'm genuinely curious. What your stance is on that? Like I said, I came up with a list of 37 that I feel like are eligible. I don't like all of them. I haven't seen all of them, but they're out there. Anybody
exist.
rewatch anything for this draft?
Both. Yeah. I rewatched a couple things.
Nice.
And I watched something for the first time.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's
Which, like,
that's putting in the work, Ben.
I'm doing what I can. I will say, didn't love it. I'm not gonna bring it up, but I gave it a shot. I gave it a shot.
Oh, tough. I always feel bad when that happens, and that's part of the reason that when we do drafts here in this pod, I'm really hesitant to watch new movies because I'm like, what if I'm wasting my time and I'm not going to want to draft this movie? So, and that's what has fundamentally curated that, and Letterboxd has curated like my movie watching ability, where I'm just like, am I even going to draft this? Is it even worth it? So filmmakers out there, just make a movie I want to draft in future drafts. That's all I'm begging.
I think that's their intent is like, I want Ethan to love this enough to draft it. That's what I'm going for here.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay. Anything else that we should talk about before we get into the draft? Is there anything else?
I guess one question that I had, I just thought of, did you say that they're 13 of the best or just 13? Because if you're saying the best, then I'm surprised that you included stuff that you may not like.
I don't know. It's our draft, Marta. How do you want to collaborate on this?
I didn't know that you had a title of it.
What do you want to do? That does raise an interesting point.
Yeah.
Ben, Sophie, I mean, Marta as well. Like, is our responsibility here to come up with the 13 best? We've done a lot of conversation about representing a full slate of horror here.
Mm-hmm.
I want what I like on here, but again, like I said, like I'm willing to either play or to let someone else play a movie that I don't love just because I feel like it belongs under that umbrella of A24 horror. So I'll be like, listen, it's not for me. I know I'm on the outs, but what can I say? Okay.
So with that being said, what are the power of vetoes in this draft? Like, do we think are people planning to use their vetoes? Like, do you feel strongly enough about a movie to enlist one of the abilities? Because it sounds to me like we might all just have a grand old time here on the Movie Draft Pod and just walk away and just be like, well, we're all best friends, that was cool.
All 5 vetoes left. Yeah. For me, I think I'll be using it to move something up.
Exactly.
I don't know that I'll be using it to kick anything out. That's how I feel right now. We haven't started, so that could fucking change. But like right now, I'm thinking of using it to bump it up.
Okay. I feel like I know enough about you, Ben, where I could play a little dirty in this draft, and I just want to put the word out. I might do it. I don't know. Haven't decided yet.
Fair enough. Wouldn't be the first time.
Okay, cool. Glad you're accepting. Okay, let's say the rules of the collaborative draft and let's spin for our spots. Are we ready to proceed to go that way? Okay.
Yep.
So this is in fact a collaborative draft. Now, I don't know the last time. Oh, I guess the last time we did a collab draft was actually a few episodes ago. We did a Batman collaborative draft, which just kind of, honestly, like burned the pod to hell at that point in time because I don't know why we're doing another collab draft. It was so bad.
I let you guys get the Batman
genuinely
before.
So bad.
You're welcome.
Fuck off. Like, what are we doing? I mean, that and what are we doing with Batman Returns? Like, what's,
I mean, that's not on us.
That's not on us. Arian's never coming back on the pod. Okay, so we did Batman, then we did Wizarding World, which also I feel like I was done a little bit dirty. Go check out those pods. But whether the strategy is to go for the win, to get the things you want in the places you want on the board, or work together as a unit, represent a full expanse of A24 horror genre, there's only going to be one team standing at the end of this, and that is a collaborative board ranking 13 A24 horror movies. I did put in the words 13 very best A24 horror movies, and now that Marta has brought this up, I'm a little apprehensive because I don't know really what we're doing here anymore. I don't know what the exercise is. So I guess we'll find out as we go through. As always, with the collaborative drafts, a special shout out to Screen Drafts, a wonderful podcast that has influenced this draft layout. Go check them out. They are the pioneers of how collaborative drafts work. Ben, would you do me the pleasure of explaining the abilities and then spinning for our spots?
I will do my best. So we are all drafted. There's 4 of us. We have drafter A, who will get picks 1, 5, and 9. Drafter B gets picks 2, 6, and 10. Drafter C gets 3, 7, and 11. And drafter D gets 4, 8, 12, and 13. So they get the most picks, but they're weighted towards the bottom. They're staying out of the top 3. They start off the draft with the first 2. Everybody gets a veto, which you can use if you want to kick a movie either off the list or if you want to move it up. Drafter A is going to get 2 vetoes, and drafter C will also get a veto override, which they can use on someone else's pick, not on their own. So if Ethan nominates The Witch at 11 and Marta doesn't like it, but I have the veto override, I could say, nope, it deserves to stay at 11. that's where it's going. But I just can't use it on my own pick. So those are the 4 spots. Those are the abilities, and I guess let's do this.
Okay. Sophie, do you feel ready for this draft? Because I haven't really heard a peep out of you for the last like 7 minutes. So I'm really worried for you.
Well, I'm like feeling pretty nervous. I'm not gonna lie, because in my research, I just think the 3 of you are more aligned than I am. Like I feel a little bit on the outs here. And I think you guys are really not gonna like some of the things that I do.
Okay.
Here.
Really?
So
oh boy. Oh boy.
Wow. I'm now feeling scared as well.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I am low-key also just trying to vamp before we spin because I have no fucking clue what drafter I want to be. I haven't put any thought into this at all.
I don't want to pick first at all.
Oh,
I'd be fine being last. Like just give me whatever's left. So yeah.
I'm gonna
that's
get
where
a
I'm at.
specific one.
Does anybody want to be a specific drafter? I know, Ben, you said there is at least one spot you don't want. Is that right?
There's one I don't want, but yeah.
There's one that I need.
Yeah,
Okay.
one that I
need?
would want. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Oh man, shit. I felt really good 8 minutes ago about where we were as a cohesive unit, and now I'm not feeling so great. Okay,
Well,
let's spin.
Let's make it happen.
All caps on the spinner this week.
All caps.
Always got a note if we go all caps.
No, fuck off.
Oh
my God.
Ben, I don't think I've ever seen you react so viscerally to being spun.
I
That's
genuinely
crazy.
did not want to pick first. Oh my God.
So is Ben A then?
No, Ben will get to pick which drafter he is
Gotcha.
after we finish the spin. So Ben Ben landed on first. Sophie got landed on second, so she will get to pick once Ben picks, and then Marta, it's between you and I. Wow, tough being a guest.
Tough.
You know, not my
Yeah.
problem, but okay. Well, Ben,
Okay.
exactly what you wanted. Got to pick
this
first.
sucks so bad. I'm gonna go with C.
Oh, interesting.
The veto override's calling to me.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling that you wanted to possess that.
Yeah, the one I don't. Yeah, whatever. We'll talk about it. But yeah.
Okay, Sophie, you're up to pick.
I would like to be drafter D.
Guys, this is no good. This is no good. Okay, Ben, you're drafter C. Sophie, you're drafter D, which I actually wanted. Okay, so 2 vetoes. Could be drafter A. Or honestly,
Marta's is yours left, the one you want?
Yes.
It is.
Oh,
Oh
oh God! Wow, that's a lot of
That's
pressure.
amazing.
It's a lot of pressure. I think that you want drafter B, so I'm going to take drafter B.
Oh no!
Oh,
It
no.
took me a second to figure out what you were doing. Yeah, I wanted B.
Oh my God.
I don't think anybody in their right mind would want to be drafter A in this draft. 159 with
God.
2 vetoes sounds terrible.
That's
Sounds
tough.
That's
terrible.
crazy.
That's awful.
I really thought you were about to be nice. I was like, oh damn, he's gonna let her have B.
And the thing
Hell
is,
no way.
I told you, Ethan, before we started this, I'm like hopped up on so many cold meds that what I pick could be in an act of delirium, like pure
yeah.
delirium.
I'll put this out as a PSA to you specifically, Marta, and anybody that listens / might be on the draft one day. Just don't tell me personal information. I will use it to hurt you. I will use it to get back.
We'll
at you.
use it against you.
Yeah. Honestly, I wish the best for you in your journey as drafter A. Good luck. It's not going to be very easy. It's not going to be very fun. Okay, so to quickly clear what drafting positions we are going to be. So Marta, you will be drafter A. You're going to get picks 1, 5, and 9. You will have 2 vetoes. You're the only person with 2 vetoes. Could be pretty powerful getting things up the board if that's what you choose to do. I will be drafter B. I'm going to get spots 2, 6, and 10. I will only get 1 veto. Ben, you're going to be drafter C. You're going to get picks 3, 7, and 11. You'll get 1 single veto and a veto override, the only veto override of the game. And Sophie, you're going to be drafter D. You're going to get picks 4, 8, 12, and 13. You will have 1 single veto. Because based on what you said previous to the spin about maybe having some outlying picks. D is what you wanted, I take it. You wanted the safety net of 12 and 13.
I did. D is what I wanted.
Okay. Well, I'm hesitant to say let's draft. I'm a little nervous.
That smile on your face when you're just like, yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to fuck this up from the beginning. That's all I'm seeing. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm like shaking.
Yeah, I'm really stressed.
Guys, we're just here to draft. We're just here to have a little bit of fun. We're just potting.
Got to get it right.
But don't fuck it up. Because once I put this graphic out, people will come for you.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay. Sophie, please begin the A24 horror collaborative draft with pick number 13. Ben's already shaking his head. We don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, well, I'm not going to vamp about this movie or talk about this movie because I know that it'll be vetoed immediately, so we don't need to talk about it really.
We can't do this like draw
That's
veto.
insane. What's going on?
I'm not trying to draw veto. I made myself a list, and this is where this
I think I know what you're going to play. I literally think I know what you're going to play.
Too.
And it's a movie that I believe belongs on this list, but I don't really like it that much. So I will be playing Midsommar.
That's fucking crazy. I knew you were going to do that. That's insane.
I'm sorry. I was scared, but I had to do it because it's what I believe in.
Okay, go ahead, Ben. No,
Well,
go ahead.
I want to hear you talk about Midsommar. Why don't you like it?
Well, okay, so the first time I watched it, I watched it when it came out, and I was just incredibly disturbed. And I think that's a good thing. Like, it means that it's an effective movie. But for me, it was something that I was like, I never want to revisit this. But then as it became increasingly popular, and I met so many people where this is their favorite movie ever. And so I got a little bit curious and I revisited it. And I think for me, atmospherically, it works really well. But I just think the movie is boring, and I don't think that the themes work for me.
I also think people jumping off of a fucking cliff, smashing in their faces, pretty boring. I gotta be honest with you.
People hanging by their skin in a room, just like whatever. We've seen that.
Just really not.
Who gives a shit? Yeah.
I don't care. Somebody being paralyzed and drinking somebody's vaginal blood, pretty boring.
Just putting a car exhaust and a hose in your mouth, and just like whatever. We've seen that.
Doing my research and seeing that all of you rate this movie 5 stars, I was like, I am in for something crazy tonight.
Cool. We
Yeah.
should do a collaborative draft of the most boring movies ever. Midsommar number 1.
Yeah, number 1. Boring. This is the shirt I chose to wear tonight. And I think I may have jinxed it.
For the listeners at home, it is Ben's Rucking Fountain Midsommar
shirt. Yeah.
In Sophie's defense, though, at least she played it. Because if you think about it, Ethan, you had 37 or something wild, bananas. So at least it's on the board.
Yeah.
It belongs on the board. It's it's a movie that skyrocketed A24 into a different level. And I do believe it's not a movie that I hate. I just think that it's a little bit overhyped in my opinion.
You think there's 12 better A24 horror movies?
I do.
Interesting. I'm excited.
This is a really interesting take, because what I'm hearing is that Sophie can't like popular movies. That's what I'm getting. Pulp Fiction, number 6. Midsommar, number 13. Too popular. Put it down. Regulate this movie. Regulate the market.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, Ben and I think, I guess, Marta, you would have right of first refusal for a veto.
I have to go through first because I picked first.
Oh, right. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it goes in that order.
Correct.
So it's me,
you
Sophie, you. So Marta gets to save hers till the end.
Okay.
I'm not going to use my veto, even though this is my number 1 with a bullet. I love Midsommar so much. I don't even want to talk about it, though, because Sophie's like, oh, it's just people's favorite movie. And
oh, my gosh.
It's all right, whatever. That's fine. I love it. I didn't see Hereditary in theaters. I made my partner go see it and then come home and tell me all about it because I was too afraid. But after I finally saw it and then Midsommar came out, I was like, I need to see this in theaters. And I had the best time. And I think it's part of it is growing up in a religion that is cultish. There are maybe things that I connected with more than I probably should. And so that aspect of it really worked for me. So I can understand like if that doesn't work for people. But to me, I love it all. I love the horrible boyfriend. I love how this movie concludes. Like one of the best final shots, in my opinion, just that like hint of a smile kind of thing. Like I love everything about it. Again, it's my number one, but I'm also aware that you are strategically placed at number 12 and you will just play this next. So I'm not going to waste my veto on this movie as much as I think it should be higher.
Really, I got to be honest. You really fucked this early on. I mean, I don't know what to do. You're just going to play it at number 12. Like I have one veto. You want me to go through the next hour of potting not having a veto? Come on.
You can't do it.
I can't do it.
Yeah, Ben brought up a good point that I didn't even think of. I was going to use one of mine, but if it's just going to get played again at 12, then I kind of want to save mine.
Well, okay. So hold on. This is what I think is important here, that we discuss a collaborative team effort here. Because
Sophie, don't listen.
Marta, yes, Sophie, take off your headphones. We're sidebarring. I'm actually gonna jump you into a different room, and then I'll let you back in when we've discussed our plan. Marta, you do have 2 vetoes. So here's what I feel comfortable doing. Okay, Marta, if you do feel strong enough to use a veto on this, Sophie will in fact play it at number 12. I don't like it, but I would play my veto at number 12. Then we can at least guarantee if you, Marta, Ben, or myself, if we don't ruin a good thing, we can at least guarantee it to be at number 8, which in my defense, it's like a top 3 A24 horror movie for me, which is why I haven't really spoken about this. So it hurts either way, but like 8 compared to 13, that's a grand canyon of picks.
And you promise you'll stay true to your word. This isn't going to be a situation where you're like, no, I'll veto it too.
If I committed 2 cardinal sins in a row, number 1, letting Sophie put this at number 12, and number 2, betraying you as a friend, Marta, I would never pot again.
Yeah.
Ooh,
and you all know, listeners know too. I couldn't do it.
That's breathing. That's like breathing.
Yeah.
I do that. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I told my partner Molly today, hey, I'm potting tonight. I haven't potted in 2 weeks. Just in case you didn't, in case you didn't know. The first 18 times I told you between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. that I'm potting in 7 hours.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, let's maybe do that.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So that a veto from Marta?
That's a veto from Marta.
All right, one down.
All right.
This is going to play out incredibly interesting.
I'm trusting you, by the way.
I know. And I feel the weight of it, and I kind of don't like it already. I got to be honest. So I might flip-flop. Who knows? I'm just kidding. I would never. Okay, so Sophie, you do have to pick a different movie to nominate for 13 now.
Yes. Okay. I am going to select a film that I think is fine. I think it's scary as fuck, and that's why it belongs on this list.
Are you gonna do the coolest thing in the whole world right now?
Oh no!
You're gonna do the sickest thing in the world?
No, I don't think you know what I'm doing. I don't know.
Well, I have an idea.
Right.
Okay,
that might be the most
base
base thing on the planet.
I'm gonna play Talk to Me here.
Oh, okay. Not what I was thinking.
Because
I'm okay with that.
I saw this movie, I had a good time, and I was really scared. And I think the music is what has stuck with me the most. And everything else, I'm kind of like, yeah, like the script was cool, but like, I think the idea of it is what scared me. Mm-hmm. Like, I went home and I was scared, but it's not a movie that has super stuck with me. But obviously, I think it belongs on this list because of its enormous success. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, it's not to be like annoying, but I don't get scared that easily, and this really scared me. So
nice.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that take as well.
Yeah.
In fun news, this is my number 2 on the list. So this is fantastic. That's all right. It's all good. I understand it. This is one of the ones that I rewatched because I just wanted the excuse to rewatch it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This movie for me is super effective. The all the little brother shit is just wild when he starts like taking his own eye out. Like I don't know. It's like
insane.
This freaked me out in the best way possible. You're right. The music is like, it sticks out so much. I think this is a very well made movie. The opening sequence at the party is memorable too. Like, I don't know, like for people who haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin it too much, but like there's some fantastic visuals in this movie, which is, I think, a large part of what makes up a good horror movie. So it hurts me to see it this low, but at least it's on the list, I guess. I usually have the hand right here next to me, but we actually have it in our front. Well, it's in our front room for our Halloween decorations.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, unfortunately it's not here next to me, but otherwise I'd be holding it up. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's on the list. I'm bummed it's this low, but yeah, I'm afraid of what you do next if I vetoed this. So we'll just like, I'm going to let it ride.
You and I have two very different drafting strategies when it comes to collab drafts, Ben.
Yes, we do.
I don't understand it. I don't know what to make of it. I gotta be honest. Like I am jealous of you. Like, you know, I wish I had that kind of, excuse me, Sophie? What's that? you're
Pulp
also,
Fiction at 6.
You're also like, yeah, Ethan, you need to be more like Ben when you draft
No,
collaborative.
I was more saying I'm also jealous of Ben, but sure.
That is not how I interpreted the yeah.
Yeah.
I would, you know, having gone through the saga that we just did with Midsommar, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to just say it's okay, and this is the life that, you know, that I have to live now. I just don't have what it takes to do that. I like Talk to Me. I think the opening sequence is among the scariest bits of the movie for sure. I think there's cool stuff, but I am much more in the camp of Sophie, where I think the theory and the idea of Talk to Me is much more interesting than the film ends up getting to. It is really scary, and I do think Talk to Me represented a little bit of a resurgence in like classic A24 horror that was like much more aligned with Hereditary and Midsommar, in my opinion, and things like that are a little bit more boundary pushing. That's, of course, like, you know, talked about this at the top of the pod, directorial debut from the Filippo brothers and from Raka Raka, and got bought at a Sundance. Great video on YouTube. I don't know what the title of it is. Ben, I think you sent it to me one time, of like them finding out that A24 purchased their movie and just like losing their minds, which is maybe one of the coolest videos ever. I think it deserves to be on this list. I think 13 is fair. I have no problems. No qualms.
Yeah. I mean, again, as you said, the title of this is the 13 best. So the fact that it's on here is great.
Well, I didn't say that. I just went 13 movies in general.
I'm opening up this doc right now.
Did
you change it, Ethan?
I would never. No. You know, once it's written in the doc, it's written in stone, which is why I tend to write things, which is why when people say things, I write them in the doc, and then they get vetoed, and then I have to erase it with my, you know, my stone and chisel. I have to try and figure out how to make that happen. They are making a sequel to Talk to Me, I believe. It was greenlit pretty fast after the first one became a pretty big box office sensation. Made a bunch of money. People liked it. Good movie. Made some good merch to go with it. Number 13. Okay. Wow. Well, we are 40 minutes into this draft. We've drafted one movie on this team. This is crazy. I think the longer we go, the more chance that we see Marta become wild. And I am kind of hoping that we could do that. So let's just keep taking our time. Let's just walk this sweet path together.
Yeah.
Torture.
Sophie, you've got the 12. I mean, you have an opportunity to just do whatever you want here. Follow your heart. Follow what's best for the planet, really.
Thank you, Ethan, for that.
Of course. Yeah.
At number 12, I will be playing Midsommar. And that's what I'll be doing.
I admire your ability to say, you know, things like that. Like, that's what I'll be doing, or that's my opinion, just to reinforce the fact that you've totally shattered my heart into a million pieces.
While smiling.
Yeah, no, that's great. Very Midsommar of you, to be honest. It's very, very Danny of you. You could have done anything else. You know, you had 36 other movies you could have picked, really. But I guess I'll veto it. This is what I said, and this is the grave I've dug.
Great.
Oh, God damn it.
She's just like Thanos collecting these vetoes. Like
Really?
just powering her. That's all it is. It's a Marvel reference, Sophie. I know you don't like those movies.
Yeah, I don't really understand.
I know you didn't watch those and prep for the MCU draft, so.
Okay. Veto from Ethan. Let's see. Okay. I am going to be putting forth what I think is the best film within Ty West's trilogy. And I will be putting forth Pearl.
That's sick. That's sick. That's so sick.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. You have this incredible nose for sniffing out other people's favorite films and being like,
wait, really?
they suck. They're bad. They should be in the.
Wait, I didn't know that you liked this movie. I swear.
I have an 8-inch Pearl tattoo on my calf of Pearl holding an axe, holding a hatchet.
Really good.
That I'm like,
oh, wow.
I love Pearl. Just talked about it last night at the Halloween party I went to. Sick. So Ben, I mean, I guess we're not so different after all. You know,
yeah,
these are the worlds we live in.
Here we are.
This is the heartbreak we have to accept.
I am causing so much chaos, like on accident. Like I'm not trying to do.
I don't know if it's on accident because you're really excited to have these bottom picks.
No.
You're like, I'm drawing vetoes out. Fuck you guys. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's X. Like that's the best of the trilogy. That's my favorite one out of the trilogy. But this one has a great performance. It's a really good movie. But for me, I'd rather have X on the list, and I guess it could still pop up here. There's no rules against that. But yeah, great performance. The movie that I did watch was Maxine.
Oh, you finally watched Maxine. This is news because you were not on the Maxine pod for A24.
Yeah, it was not. It was fine. I don't know. It felt like a drop off from the other two, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's a bad movie.
It's like actually, Godfather Part 2 level sequel.
Okay,
like it's awful.
Wow.
Just no good.
Jesus Christ.
No, it was fine.
I do take back what I said at the top of the pod about never seeing something bad because I forgot Maxine is really, really bad.
It's terrible. Maxine's bad. I have Pearl ranked pretty high on like my overall A24 rankings list. I love Pearl, but you know, who am I to say? I don't have a veto. I've got no power in this fight. I can't do anything to influence the outcome. So I guess this is, it's too bad. I think Pearl is really the best of the trilogy for sure. For me, I think it is like the most interesting character study, and I think it's where Mia Goth gets to shine, of course. And you know, I think the cop out for saying that is overused, but it's very true in this instance. Like she gets a monologue, she gets a kill scene, like she gets those moments to be Mia Goth that we all like so much. And of course, like the end credits, I remember the first time seeing it, and then I watched the end credits, and then I watched like the behind, or you know, heard about like the behind the scenes where she's just like, keep rolling. I'm just like not gonna blink. She's a true Hollywood psycho, and I appreciate that, you know. But there's 11 other movies that deserve to be better, so that's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Do you like Pearl, Marta?
I do. Yeah, I would say for me, Pearl and X. I like both equally. It depends on any given day that you ask me what I would rather watch. Today, it would probably be Pearl. But I love both. Maxine was I agree with you guys. It was fine. It was whatever. But the other two I love. That said, I kind of do want to save my veto just in case something else comes up. I don't want to use up the other one right away.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
For me, I personally had Pearl at 10.
Oh, okay. It's not too far off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's good that you save your veto. We got to collaboratively pull together to right these wrongs. We've got to come back. We've got to form a team. We've got to build a better gauntlet. We've got to take it back.
Yes,
got to make America great again. Okay.
Wow.
Ben, you've got the 11 pick.
I'm going to read my Letterboxd review of this film, if you'll indulge me.
Please.
Of course. Let's do it.
Man, I was bored for 90% of this movie. Some really good acting, but I just did not give a shit about anything that was happening.
What movie is this?
Maybe I'm seeing this too long after the hype train left the station, but I do not get all the praise this movie gets.
Ooh, I think I know.
At 11, I will be playing The Witch.
Yep.
No, Ben.
I'm sorry.
No.
I've rarely been so bored watching a movie. I don't get this movie. It wouldn't be on my top 13, but this is what I was referring to earlier, where it's like, it deserves to be on the list somewhere. Because it is like synonymous with A24 horror. And I understand that. I know I'm on the outs on this. Like, I can totally admit that I'm probably wrong, but for me, this movie just like, I don't know. I'm 0 for 2 on Eggers, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with Nosferatu, but I guess I should watch The Northman too.
I've been begging you to watch The Northman for years.
We'll do it right before Nosferatu. We'll watch it.
Okay, yeah,
live
we should
pod.
do it.
Yeah. Anyways, The Witch at 11. It deserves to be on the list, but for me, out of the top 10.
This one really hurt me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have a veto. You have a veto, Marta.
Yeah, but I thought we have to go in order. I mean, if I can use it now, I'll use it. I'll use it now.
I mean, unless Sophie's going to use it.
Yeah.
I am not going to use it. I think this is a perfect spot for The Witch. I agree with Ben. I think, well, I have seen The Northman, and I think The Northman is better than this film, and I also think The Lighthouse is better than this film. Not to show my cards too much.
Don't even start on The Lighthouse. I watched The Lighthouse in a coffee shop. Sick
Shut
movie.
up. I've seen it since then. Don't even worry. But yeah, I think The Witch is definitely Eggers' weakest film, but I think it still deserves to be on this list. I would have it exactly here if it were up to me, but I suspect Marta will not have it this way.
Well, I do want maybe some clarification first, because that would be the deciding factor of whether or not I want to use my veto. So say hypothetically I say this is vetoed. What does that mean? That gets taken off, and then Ben would probably put it at number 7. Is that how it works?
I mean, there's no rule to it, but more than likely, if I played it at 11, that's the thing. Is like, I don't even know if I would honestly play it at 7. Like, I might just not play it anymore in hopes that it just doesn't get played.
But if you were to play it, you would have to play it in one of the slots that you personally have.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. 11, 7 or 3, I guess. Yeah. 11,
Well,
7,
okay.
Well, that's not entirely the case, because Marta, if you were to veto this, I am up next. And if I also feel The Witch deserves to be on the bottom of the list, I could put it at 10 if I really wanted to.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, anyone can nominate
it goes
anything.
up for grabs. And I see you going to Letterboxd, and I
are you rushing to private this review?
I in fact did. Can I do that? Can I private a review real fast?
Oh no, I found it.
Tell me what I rated this, Marta. Tell me what I give this.
Ethan just did something crazy.
5.
I didn't do anything.
Ooh.
I'm exposing him. I'm going to expose
no.
him. Marta, he has it at 2.5. He just changed it to 5.
No, that's not what Letterboxd says. Letterboxd shows 5 stars.
Wow.
He had it at 2.5 30 seconds ago.
Wow.
That's outrageous. That's so sneaky. I thought this was collaborative. If this isn't collaborative,
I didn't do
I'm
anything.
I don't even care. That's what's going on.
I'm looking at my Letterboxd right now, and I've watched The Witch twice, and I have rated it 5 stars. And I think The Witch, damn it, Sophie's got proof. That's not ideal.
Oh yeah,
Not
and if
ideal.
I go to the actual diary, I see that 2.5 right there. And wait, it says
Tried.
I can't vouch for my review because it was probably Ben influenced. I got to be honest. I gave it 4 stars originally, and then we covered it on the pod, and Ben was like, "This movie's ass," and I rewatched it, and I was like, "Uh-oh, Ben might be right. This movie's not ideal. Ben might be onto something here."
So yeah, to answer your question in a long way, anybody can nominate it. It's not up to me. Like The Witch isn't mine now to nominate. Anybody can nominate it. So like in theory, if it makes it, you could play it at number 1. Like if
no,
it's
that's a bit too much.
Well, I'm just saying like that's possible, but yeah. So I don't necessarily have to play it at 7, but hopefully someone else. Usually, I think when a movie gets vetoed, the unspoken rule is whoever vetoes it, they probably want to play it later. But there's no rule, there's no rhyme or reason. Stuff has been left off lists for sillier reasons. So yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this is the only one that I would feel really strongly about to use my second veto for. And it wouldn't even be my number one pick, but I would probably put it at one of my other options where I think it should properly go, just because, I don't know, I feel like this really brought folk horror back into a more mainstream audience. And more folk horror started getting made after that. Like, I feel like this wasn't really a subgenre of horror that people talked about for quite the while, personally. So because of that reason alone, I feel like it should go higher than Solo on our list.
Does Eggers get the green light to make Nosferatu if he never makes The Witch?
I mean, are we then assuming like The Lighthouse was his first thing?
I guess you could, or I guess if he went in a different subgenre direction, because like Marty, you mentioned folk horror, right? Like, and I think Nosferatu, of course, a period horror piece, and I think does kind of like play more in that subgenre vein. I wonder, because Nosferatu is going to be a much bigger play than The Witch ever was. I just wonder. Like, I think Eggers has had a really interesting career that has kind of catapulted him, similar to Ari Aster, but like completely different in terms of like Eggers made The Northman and continued to do what he was doing just with more money, and Ari Aster was like, I'm just not going to do the same thing at all and also use more money. So, you know, but I think like A24 has their stable of their horror boys, and of course Eggers was one of those. I hear your argument. I just, you know, do what your heart says. Do what your heart says.
I'm going to use it.
It puts me in a really shitty position.
Well, you know what? You just lied, man. So, like,
wow, I love it.
I was really hoping I wouldn't get caught. And, you know, Sophie, you flipped real fast. If I ever had to put somebody on the jury, not you. I wouldn't be calling you. I don't think I could trust you in a Goodfellas situation, Sophie.
Honestly, yeah, probably not.
So you're admitting it. You'd flip easy. Wow. Would you cut a deal with the cops if one of your best friends was like on the hook? Would you be like, yeah, I'll give you all the info on our inside ring?
Like, look at his letterbox right now.
I look at his letterbox right now.
Check this out.
Oh, man.
I was just, you know, telling Marta what I was seeing. What I was seeing live.
Honesty.
Okay, well, Ben, you've got to play another movie at 11 now.
Yeah, I do. Okay. I think at 11, I am going to play. There's a couple kind of funny horror movies on here on my list, and I do like one of them more than the other. But I am going to go with Helena Rain's Bodies, Bodies, Bodies at 11.
Nice. I really like this movie.
It gave a voice to us podcasters, you know, which is great. You know, get us out there. Podcasting's hard, you know, Google Docs and
really
scheduling guests. Yeah,
you know?
It's rough. It's tough out there. Yeah, I thought this movie really worked well. I love the cast. I honestly love the Pete Davidson reveal at the end. Like, I think it's hilarious that like all of this happened because of this one thing that he was doing. But yeah, great dynamic between the cast. I don't know. I think that it gets so hard now in movies. You have to put them in a remote place where cell phones don't work or whatever. But this one did it for me. It's like, it was a believable way. I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of get it why that wouldn't work. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a good movie. I don't dislike this movie at all. Just make that clear. Sophie, you can go to Letterboxd and look, but I'm pretty sure I have this rated above The Witch. But yeah, I want to put that on here. And Lee Pace was awesome. He's great.
I think this is a really good cast. I think the cast in this movie is like really good. It's like it's a cast that I would want to see in lots of things. And I think putting them in a single location like horror thriller, it was a really smart thing to do. And I think too, having Pete Davidson be Pete Davidson worked for me because I like Pete Davidson. And I know, I think a lot of people's biggest complaint was like, Pete Davidson was, you know, himself. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. A great movie on, I think, you know, social media commentary and like, of course, reliance on our online lives. I feel like I was a little bit higher on this movie than most coming out of the theater. I haven't rewatched it since I've seen it in the theater, but I really like this movie. But I think 11's okay, I guess. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
not veto it. Couldn't
not
be me.
veto it. Literally couldn't be you.
I'm regretting not starting the podcast out with your parents are upper middle class. Like this
Either
movie,
we cut that into the beginning.
Yeah.
I will actually use AI voice to insert that in the beginning. Yes.
I love this movie so much. I think it's just incredibly rewatchable and fun to just like throw on with friends. And I think, I recently watched a Netflix movie called It's What's Inside, I think is what it's called. A lot of people were comparing the two. I think that, the kind of like secluded friend sleepover movie is going to be replicated over and over again. But I think Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is incredibly effective and funny, like one of the funniest
Really
movies
funny.
I've seen.
Yeah.
I think it works really well. I personally would have it a lot higher, but I'm glad it's on the list and I don't want to waste my veto. So she'll stay here.
Yeah.
Waste your veto.
Pete Davidson says, well, I just look like I fuck. You know what I mean? I look like I fuck, and that's the vibe I want to put out there.
Exactly.
And that's really elite shit, in my opinion. That's really good.
So
It's really funny. Okay. Interesting bottom slate that we've had so far. Much more difficult and much more hostile than I had ever anticipated. And much more lengthy, to be honest. So here we are. We've arrived at number 10. Of course, the fateful.
Wait, does Marta have any of these? Do you want to talk about bodies?
Oh yeah, do you want to talk
all?
about bodies, Marta?
No,
You don't
I'm
have to,
happy
but-
where it is.
All right,
I
cool.
like the movie. I
right, sweet.
I like it.
All right. Good deal. Of course the faded inflection point of the pod would be my pick, not to self-inflate or anything, but I got to put it out there, guys. And I have sources here. I have a source to back me up this time. And I think this argument is at least worth spending 60 seconds on, because I Googled, of course, best A24 horror movies, ranking A24 horror movies. I put it out there into the world just to see what other people had to say. So I have some outside opinion, of course. And I did happen to find myself reading a Men's Health article that was published a mere 20 days ago or so. And at number 10, really interesting pick. This little movie called First Reformed, at number 10. They give a great argument for why it's a horror movie.
Interesting.
And I just want to say it's on an official list from a health magazine that has no knowledge about films in general, but, it's out there. And they constitute as a horror movie. I did, in fact, rewatch First Reformed a few days ago. Bumped up my rating from 4.5 to 5 stars. I think it's just an utter masterpiece. And it's not horror in the way that we generally think about A24 horror, but I personally do find it horrific. And I know a lot of people have a problem with that take. A lot of people are like, it's not a horror movie. It's a religious thriller, and it's a slow burn, and it's, that is like what Paul Schrader is best at. And I'm not disagreeing with any of that. Pretty horrific that like the cavern between hope and despair is so shallow and so short. That's the point of the movie. I think that to me is horrific. But I got, I don't know. Am I talking to myself here, or are you guys actually going to allow me to play First Reformed at 10?
I don't have vetoes.
Well, we can also just
you can
make
just say it's not allowed.
a common sense. Yeah. I'm glad you clarified that it was a Men's Health article, because I thought for sure it was going to be an Agents of Fandom article that you wrote about like the top A24 horror movies. Like, I'm looking at an article right here on an established website. So you can't make your own list and reference it.
I actually just published an article right now. If you want to go check it out, agentsofandom.com, number 1 horror movie. First
I also love that you mentioned specifically that it's Men's Health.
Yeah.
Because it's a health magazine. Like, what?
Look, I gotta, what they gotta have a cinema correspondent, I guess. I don't know. Or do you think the person like whoever wrote this, do you think they're just like typing it up from the weights? What are they doing?
Yeah, I was
It's quite possible.
on the tread.
Yeah.
They're just like,
In
we gotta
between
put
reps,
First Reformed
they're
at
just
10.
like watching First Reformed.
In fact, written by the Men's Health culture staff, so we can't pin it on anybody, unfortunately.
Just a group of people.
Tough beat.
Your passion is so beautiful, Ethan.
I still don't think it's a horror movie. but I kind of want to let
Thank
you
you.
play it just so that you can hear from everybody else when they see the list. They're like, First Reformed is not a horror movie. Why is it on this list? That's kind of what I want to happen. But
Okay. That's
I'll,
fair. So
I'll
but
defer to the other two, and whatever they want to do, I'm on board with.
you want to feed me to the
Yeah.
monsters is what
Yeah.
you want to do.
No, I actually agree with Ben because it's supposed to be 13 horror movies specifically, right? Like
Right.
I feel like if the list was 1 to 30, then sure, maybe you could put it down. We could even put down
Yeah.
Ghost Story if we want to be
Yeah.
extra sassy. But otherwise, I feel like for 13, it doesn't qualify enough as a horror. Those are my thoughts.
Nice.
God damn it. I really thought you'd have my back on this one, Marta. I was pulling. I was like, man, the meds are going to kick in. She's going to be like, First Reform,
First
banger
Reform,
horror
yes.
movie.
The
Actually.
meds have been kicking
Fire
in
it
this
up on
whole time.
October 31st.
Wait, play it at 2. Don't play it at 10. Play it higher.
Okay. And that's a no from you, Sophie, I assume.
Yeah, it's a no from me. I'm sorry, Ethan.
Okay. Yep. So I've got to figure this out.
It was a good try.
I'm having
Yeah.
I'm having a personality crisis right now on air, live on the pod. I've tried this several times on this show to get my point across that First Reformed is in fact a horror movie. I can't tell if it's a bit or the truth at this point, but I don't think it matters.
You're too deep in. It's like, I don't even know anymore.
I don't even know. Shit, I love First Reformed. Okay, that's too bad.
I also want to say, like, I don't know
number
about the
10.
other two, but I love First Reformed as well.
Yeah.
Just not
Oh
as a
yeah,
horror movie.
incredible.
But incredible film, yes.
Yeah. Thrilling, you might say. But not horrific.
Again, this is the moment that I lift up my sweater and detonate my bomb vest that's attached to me. Okay, number 10. This is interesting. I'm gonna play a movie that I think a lot of people actually don't like kind of at all, and has kind of gained a reputation as a wild movie that is just bad. And looking at Letterboxd, that seems to be the case. But I can't have it any higher than 10. If I had a 12 or a 13 spot, I would have put it there as well. I feel like, in my opinion, fundamental to the A24 horror genre, whether you like it or not, I'm going to be playing Tusk at number 10.
Ooh.
This movie is absolutely insane. A guy turns into a walrus.
Yeah.
So scary. Horrific to watch Justin Long, the king of small horror, turn into a walrus. I like this movie. I actually think it's a pretty good movie. I think it's weird as hell, and it works for me. I can tell, Marty, you don't like this movie. Ben, you're closer to me. So we haven't seen it, from what Letterboxd telling me.
Yep, haven't seen it.
This is the other one I was talking about. And I was like, I have two kind of like funny horror movies I'm going between. It was Body by Bodies and Tusk. It's it can't help but be a Kevin Smith for the most part. So it is. That being said, it's kind of wild to me that this is probably going to make the
Pearl?
list, but yeah, I'm not using my veto on it.
This is why I wanted to veto The Witch, because imagine if I didn't and Tusk was put above The Witch.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to be honest with you right now. I totally forgot that we vetoed The Witch, and I probably should have put it at 10.
Yeah,
we got to be honest with you.
done
That really glided by. Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Meds are kicking in on my end, I guess.
And Sophie's probably not going to veto it since she hasn't seen it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Wow.
All right.
Tusk lives on at 10.
Tusk at 10 is a bold play.
Yeah.
Some would argue maybe even as bold as trying to put First Reformed on here. But it is just a
I'm second guessing
horror
like
movie.
telling you no on First Reformed now. It's like, I don't know. I might rather
Yeah,
have First
I
Reformed.
think
on
I
the
might
list
rather have
than
that.
Tusk, but here we are.
This is the list you guys have curated. This is
yeah.
what I feel like I'm transforming into a walrus here on the
You're
show
doing
because I'm being told no all the time. Can't talk anymore. All right. Tusk at 10. God, should have been The Witch. Crazy. Okay. Well, here we are. Marta, you're up at 9.
Yes.
Wait, did anybody else want to say anything about Tusk? I don't really feel like it warrants a conversation, to be honest. Like,
No.
I don't really know we need to talk more about
I
it.
think
But
we're all good.
okay, I forgot to put the floor out there.
So I'm doing 9, number 9.
Yeah,
oh,
I have no idea where you're going to go, by the way.
Yeah, I'm
neither
excited.
do I, honestly.
I'm really excited.
You know what? I think I'm gonna do. Do you guys consider I Saw the TV Glow as a horror movie?
Yes.
Interesting conversation that I was hoping would come up on this show.
I'm gonna go for that, and I am being strategic about this. So I'm gonna put that at number 9.
Huh. Okay. I saw the
And
TV Glow.
reason why it may not be my personal favorite A24 horror, but I think it deserves to be on this list just because it was a topic of so many conversations this year. It spoke a lot to so many people. You included, Sophie. I remember you even came on my podcast and brought it up, I think, briefly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's going to be my pick.
I
I know Ethan's gearing up. He like took a breath. I was like, here we go.
I just
Okay, so hold on. Let me get my
I'm
brain for a
nervous.
second. This is what happens when you go 16 days without potting with everybody. Okay, so I hear you, and I hear your argument, Marta, that it is because in fact Max does list it as a horror movie. It's pretty prominently displayed on their horror collection that's going on right now. No free ads. Max, sponsor the pod. But now I Saw the TV Glow is my favorite movie of 2024.
Oh,
I've seen it a few times. Most recently, we rewatched it like 3 weeks ago. Mind-bogglingly good. Just like I think a definitive artwork of like the last 20 years, to be honest. I think it is really, really good. The only problem that I have with this is that, in my opinion, I Saw the TV Glow functions in the same space as First Reformed. It's a much more theoretical horror. It's a horror of time passing. It's a horror of unable to identify. It's a horror of losing your friends. And it's this much more lofty type of horror. Now there is the Ice Cream Man and there is scary things and it is functioned around a scary show. But in my opinion, it does function similarly to First Reformed. I'm not going to say no because I think it's important to have it on this list. And I do think it's a little bit more stylistically horror. But let it be known that I don't think it is a true horror movie. I think it's a little bit of a cheat.
I'm wondering if I can actually change it because
this is
I'm looking
interesting.
at the list right now and putting it directly above Tusk is like borderline offensive. Like it should be higher is what I'm saying for me. So if I could change my pick, I know what I would pick. But if you want to keep it there, then we can keep it there.
That's up to Sophie to decide because I don't like this movie. But I'm not gonna veto it either. Again, like I have my eyes set on something else, so this all rests on Sophie's shoulders.
I did think of something else that I would prefer at this spot. That's why I want to.
I think I will allow it.
To stay at 9?
No, for her to switch.
Really?
Oh, yay.
Oh, I don't think that's how this works.
I don't think so.
What do you mean?
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I think you nominated it. I think it's
Okay, but
I
wait,
think
wait.
it's set in stone.
So
Let's rewind.
you're saying it's up to me to veto or not?
Yes, that's what I was saying. Yeah, it's up to you to use your veto to get it off of 9 if you want.
Marta, I got to be honest. I found myself in this position several times, and every time I've been shot down out of the sky. People are just like, absolutely not. You've nominated.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
is it your argument, Ethan, that it doesn't count if we're not going with First Reformed? So
No. It does count. I just want it to be known that I don't agree.
Oh.
Oh.
It counts. I mean, per the IMDb genres, it is a drama horror. That is what it is.
I mean, if I can't change it and if we're going to keep it there, all I'm saying is I'm putting something else at number 5 and you guys probably won't like it. So
cool. That's good. Awesome. Way to guilt trip us, Marta. Really good stuff.
What are your thoughts, Sophie?
I mean, I think maybe I'm wrong here, but I think Marta was saying that this was strategic because maybe she wanted to pull a veto from me. I don't know.
Oh, she wanted to pull a Sophie?
I wasn't thinking
Wow. How does it feel?
Oh, wow.
Because I love this movie like a lot, and I personally think it deserves to be a lot higher, and I agree with her when she says I think it's a little offensive, even though I haven't seen Tusk. Just to put it above Tusk, like I don't know,
This is actually going to be the first graphic to ever include pictures. So I'm going to put a picture of the Tusk Man, and then I'll put a pic
Oh, boy.
the
The
best
ice
frame
cream
from
man?
I Saw the TV Glow. Yeah, I'll just be like, look at these horror movies right next to each other.
Yeah.
I'll promise you that I won't use the veto override if you decide to veto this. I won't be an asshole and make it stay here at 9. I'll
And
just
I
eat
promise
my
that
override.
my number one pick is going to be something we all relatively like.
Okay.
It sounds
Lots of
extremely
promises
not
being
hopeful.
made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
know.
listen, Ben and I aren't Ethan. It's not like we're
Yeah.
gonna-
What the hell?
That's true.
God, Stray! Ow!
I mean, I trust Ben that he won't use his override, but he does pick in like 2 picks. So I'm like, is it really worth it?
I don't think Ben cares enough to play it. That's the thing. I don't think Ben wants to burn a play.
It's not
On
on
this
my
movie.
short list.
Okay. All right.
It's not on his
Whatever.
list.
Sure. I'll veto it. Let's do it.
Okay. Cool. So I'm picking something else then.
What a wild
Yep.
draft this has been.
It's been wild.
Okay, I'm gonna put at that spot number 9, Climax.
Ooh.
Perfect.
Just a great pick.
I personally love Climax. I would love to have it higher, but I'm thinking about all of us.
I remember you talking about this on our previous A24 draft and your
Mhm.
love for it. And I think I watched it because of that. And it was one of those movies where, like, I don't know if I necessarily enjoyed the experience, but I appreciated it. I was like, okay, yeah, I can see how this is some people's vibe. It isn't mine.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I did anticipate you playing it. And so I anticipated it being on the list. And I think this is a good spot for it.
Perfect.
I was gonna play it at 7, to be honest. I really
Ooh,
like this
okay.
movie too.
Wow.
But I was afraid like 4 might be too high, so 7 felt
Mhm.
safe. But I'm cool with it at 9. It doesn't help me because I have to find something else to play. But this movie sticks with you. I don't think there's any way you can watch this and just like shrug your shoulders after. Like, this movie's wild. It's an adventure. I think it's super powerful. So I'm glad it's on the list for sure.
Yay.
So I have Climax rated 2 stars on Letterboxd. Here's the thing. I watched Climax, hated it because I don't think I've ever felt so much frightful, just like manic energy in my life. I couldn't do it. I was like, I don't like this movie. I also don't like the fact that one of the children gets trapped in an electrical room and forgotten about and fucking dies. And you know, all the kudos to Gaspar Noé and everybody making this movie. I think it's sick, and you know, it's very much in line with Mother for me, where it's just like, okay, Mother, sick movie. Oh, baby broke its spine, 1 star, out. Got to be honest with you. Few things, exceptionally few things that I just like can't stomach in a movie that would fall under that bracket for me. So I was hoping that Climax would be played on this list. I think it is imperative to have it on this list, and I think it's an incredible little Easter egg in A24's filmography that I think is important. Not for me.
That's fair. I find with movies that are that stressful, that's completely a valid take to not like that, because it does bring forth so many feelings of discomfort. Like I hate watching this, but I also love watching this. So yeah.
Maybe I should rewatch this movie.
I
be
think
curious
it'd
what I
worth
would think.
it. Yeah.
I'd be curious. All right, Climax at 9. Okay, things are getting a little. We smoothed out the gears a little bit. I feel like
We are.
moving a little looser now. I say that as Sophie gears up to pick number 8, which is just not gonna go well for anybody.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're coming back around, and I will be playing once again Midsommar at 8.
Congrats on getting all 3 of us to use a veto on this movie. We're getting it to number 4 at
Well
least.
And that's what I
has to at least be
anticipated.
number
That's why
4.
I had to be voter D, because I knew that
Because
this
you
is
wanted to
what
take
was
all of
gonna
our
happen.
vetoes.
Well,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
To put it simply, I mean,
Yeah.
but that it's also, you know, like I would have had it lower, but I knew I'm aware of your guys' love for it, so I had to I had to be voter D.
We've picked 5 movies and we are all done with our abilities. Like the next
Okay,
8
so-
movies are just locked in. Like no one can change anything now.
Oh my god!
Terrifying.
I do want to say,
Wow.
when I asked in the beginning, like, are we even going to use our vetoes? I feel like you took that too personally, Sophie.
Yeah.
I feel you were like, oh, are we ever?
We
Like,
did
you
not make it
bet.
halfway to the list and everything is gone.
Wow.
I think this is the first time this has ever happened. A
I think
bold,
so.
bold
Yeah.
strategy, Sophie.
Yeah.
You should trademark it.
Okay, it's mine.
Cheers. It's
Cool. The veto strategy. The veto sucker. It's like the
right.
spin zone, the veto
Okay.
spin zone.
Okay, well, I am going to put forth another film that is going to stay here, and we've already talked about it, and that is The Witch, because I explained the way that I feel about The Witch. I don't think that it's Edgar's strongest film, but I want it on the list still. I'm aware of its power, even though I don't love it. What's the goat's name? Black something.
Black Phillip.
Philip.
Black Phillip.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Iconic. Hate this movie. Iconic goat.
I don't hate it. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still pretty cold. I am genuinely pretty cold on this movie. I think there's a lot of good things about it. I am actually just like in the Ben camp. I think it's like kind of boring. Like, honestly, I think it's like until you get to the final 20 minutes when things like get crazy. I just think it's a little bit of a slog to get through. And I don't know if it's worth it.
I think you just have to be in the right mood for it. For me, when I watched it the first time, I got half an hour into it and I fell asleep. I was just super tired. And then I tried again the next day, well rested, and I really, really loved it. So
Well, I'm just mad you took my pick. So now I have to think about what to do next. Oh man.
This is a little frightful. It's just now sinking and setting in that you guys are like, whatever we pick stays. That's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. it's all
That's
locked
the
in.
real A24 horror. Is that we have to just we can't do anything about what we pick.
What do we pick? I guess I could do their most recent horror movie, We Live in Time, which is just crazy. That was just horrific. Losing your partner like that is crazy. Horrific. Goddamn. Okay. Now I don't
feel
know.
like there's a really good 7 pick for you here, Ben. I feel like there's a really good pick, a really good slot for a movie that you really like.
Oh, that's going at 3.
Okay.
Whoa.
I'm playing that at 3 for sure. So
you're playing that at 3.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
this list
Well,
is
Ethan, you can play it
fucked.
at 6 then.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh,
I guess
sick.
you
Okay,
could,
cool.
yeah.
Well, deal. Awesome. Good
Yeah,
idea.
perfect.
Good
Here we go.
collaboration. We're a team.
Yes.
finally.
I'm just trying to think strategically as well. It's like I don't want this thing to be any higher. But again, like I know I'm on the outs on this.
No.
I don't even really want to talk about it. I'll let you guys talk about it. But we're going back to back Eggers. We're doing The Lighthouse at 7.
Oh,
That's crazy.
Upsetting.
Ugh.
Sorry. I don't super enjoy this movie. So I just don't want it to be higher. That's my only reasoning behind this. So
Wow.
I'll let you guys talk about how good it is and why I'm wrong. But yeah.
I'm just going to say with these picks, you guys are going to hate what I have for number 5.
Oh, no.
Oh my God. I can't wait.
Because so many of my faves are so low, but that's okay.
This is out of control.
Damn.
Did this movie in fact did get drafted last week? Is that correct, Sophie, in the single locations draft?
Yes, I did draft it last week.
That makes sense.
I have it a whole star above The Witch. So it makes sense.
Is this one of the very best two-handers that's ever existed? I mean, this is just sheer double duty from R. Pats and Willem Dafoe here.
I don't
Nothing
know
else.
if
No fluff.
ever existed, but I do love it quite a bit.
Yeah, I think their chemistry is incredible. And I think this is like, I know this isn't what Ben was referring to earlier, but it's a horror movie that is really funny. And like,
Mhm.
it makes me laugh more than it scares me. Definitely.
Nice.
It's just weird. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with Sophie. It's
They're
a
just
weird little
two
film.
weird guys chatting. In a
Yep.
lighthouse. Like, it's hilarious. They're
Just
talking
dudes being
about
dudes.
yeah. Ugh, I adore
Honestly,
it.
hearing
Do you-
Sophie talk about it makes me want to watch it this week. I think I will.
Do you guys think you could do that job? Could you maintain this
No.
lighthouse on this island?
Mm-mm.
I mean, maybe if I'm with Willem
present day.
Dafoe. Yeah. Who knows?
Why'd you spill your beans? That's just great movie. Great movie. It's kind of a sin that it's this low on the list. I don't even super love this movie. I do think it's overinflated and overhyped, and I do think it is like a relatively thematically hollow movie, in my opinion. But it's 7 is too low.
Collaborative. You guys all agree on this. Our name is signed off on this whole list.
Honestly, blame Sophie. This is what happens.
Yeah.
It's an interesting exercise because I feel like out of any genres, for me personally, horror is the one that I think is just the most subjective.
Mhm.
Like the one that will lead to the most disagreements. Because I mean, who is who to define like what's scary?
Yeah, for sure.
Poorly worded, but you guys know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah. That totally makes sense. That's also why I think
Yeah.
this is so fun to have Tusk 2 picks away from the witch. You know, like, it's kind of wild.
We're getting roasted for that one.
Painful.
Yeah.
We're gonna get this might be our most controversial collaborative draft yet.
Mhm.
It's exciting.
Crazy. If I had a steak, I would fuck it. Okay, cool. Let's oh shoot, it's my turn. Okay, it's my
Yeah.
turn. I'm at number 6. Oh boy. Well, Ben, you playing the Lighthouse, I feel like has kind of put this onus on like we got to start playing big titles because we do only have 6 slots left. Let me green the Lighthouse here on my draft prep. So I saw the TV Go got vetoed. So we know that one's going to go higher. Yeah, I don't necessarily feel good about this decision, but I feel like it's right. And I feel like that's what's most important. So Ben, I'm so sorry. I'm picking Green Room at number 6.
Cool.
Cool.
I love it.
Guys, don't do that to me. Don't respond to me so nicely.
I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, I'm not mad. Like, it's in the top 6. That's great. It's above the witch. That's great. Like, I don't know. I'm happy it's on the
Above the
list.
witch,
I
that's great.
didn't know if anybody would play it. So
I like Green Room.
Yeah.
I like Green Room.
Mhm.
I think it's good. I think it is a good movie, and I do think it kind of represents a lost era of A24 horror that was just like a little bit more frivolous and a little bit more like hardcore. Like no pun intended. Of course, like the movie is super hardcore. And I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool movie, and I guess like my in nominating this movie here is because that I think it like we said at the top of the pod, we need to represent the full slate of A24 horror. And I think Green Room is kind of like subset by itself. Do I think it's better than The Lighthouse? No, but pretty sick movie,
not bad.
Not
Mhm.
bad. Killing neo-Nazis, that's pretty fucking cool.
Sure is.
Yeah, not wrong.
I had it at number 8 for me, so I'm happy with this spot too.
I actually had it at number 6, so this is perfect.
You guys
Oh,
did
okay,
it.
perfect. I didn't really have it initially on my short list, but I can't have it at 3. So it's like it's an out
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah.
Cool.
Man, there's so
Oh, is
many
it-
that I wanted on this list that are not going to make it.
Yeah.
Shoot. I feel like that, man, there's so many good deep cuts for A24 horror that are just like, they're not even like great. They're just pretty good, but I still think they're worthy of making a list of 13.
Mm.
I guess not going to happen.
I mean, this one in a totally different direction than I was expecting.
Seriously.
Well, Marty mentioned something about a number 5 pick that we might be a little
yes.
Oh yeah, I
sounded
can't
by.
wait.
Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Oh, nice.
I would have put this at 6 if Ben didn't coerce me to do Green
Okay.
Room. Yeah. This movie's sick.
I love this movie. I would personally have it higher, not at the number 1 spot, but I love this movie. But I know it's not everybody's favorite.
I think it's an awesome pick. Probably gonna play I thought about doing that at 7 initially, but then remembered that the lighthouse existed. So I think this is great. I think Barry Keoghan he's amazing in this. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but I think he's fantastic. And I don't know. I'm glad it's here. Top 5 is solid.
I love Yorgos, so I really wanted something by him on here.
I just want to give a shout out to our boy Sonny Suljic, who's of mid-90s fame. He's also in this movie. I think he's only made like a handful of movies, and this is 2 of them. I think it's a sick movie. I've only seen it once. I think it's really good, and there's like a pretty deeply fucked up movie that also includes Nicole Kidman giving a hand job, which like it's a win-win. We've all won. Feels good.
Yeah, you cut out there, and it was fantastic when you came back in with
whatever.
Job, so
you guys are
that was wonderful.
That is not the first time this happened on this pod, and I feel like you guys have a button on your end where you're just like, we're gonna cut the audio on this guy, cut the mic, you know,
cut the mic. Hand job,
Well, a little info for our listeners: it all stays in. I don't cut anything in this pod, so beware, be warned. I like this pick. It's a very good pick.
It's good.
Oh. I'm surprised by all the support, but I'm happy. This is good.
Could be backhanded support. You'll never know.
Thanks.
All right, Sophie, let's hear it. Let's drum roll, please.
Let's talk about it,
number 4.
You know, I'm really sad because I feel like I would love to play something that I love here, but I can't.
You have that opportunity.
Yeah.
You can literally do it.
I did all that. I did all this strategizing.
It's already in the top 4. Just let it go top 3.
Nope.
Talk about a movie. Talk about a movie you like.
Here's the thing. In life, it's never too late. It's never too late,
You're
Sophie.
so right.
It's never too late to find your true path, to find your true calling, to help those that you love.
You're right.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Just say
it's not happening. Midsommar at 4.
This is number 1 in my book. Easy number 1.
I'd love to hear all of you talk about it.
I feel like I already spilled my guts. I love this movie. I love the religious aspect of it. I love the daytime aspect of it. Like that, I think it's wild and just works really well. I don't know. I'm glad we got to the top 4. Teamwork. You know, we made it happen. But yeah, I'll let you guys talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say. I feel like these meds are really kicking in now. I'm getting tired. No, but I agree with Ben. I do like the daytime aspect of it. For me personally, once we start getting into the more top tier A24 movies, I think they're all movies that really push the boundaries, and I don't know, they're just ballsy, I think is a good word for it. And I think that this movie fits that bill. So
yeah, I don't want to say too much about this movie. I love this movie. I love the daytime aspect, like you mentioned, Ben. I think to me, this is like the perfect combination of Ari Aster. Like I know we'll talk about Hereditary. At least I assume we'll talk about Hereditary in a few minutes. But like I think Midsommar is like all of the pieces coming together. I love that it's 2.5 hours. I think that is kind of magical. That he's just like, live in this foreign land that's really scary for so long. I'm going to make you do that. I think Florence Pugh is top tier. I think it's just like genuinely frightening that like the realism of something like this. Like my wife comes from like a Swedish family. So like she's been to Midsommar. She's been to Sweden. She's been to these events. It's real. Like it happens. And like they dance around the pole like that, and like they stay up all night. And I don't know. Is she the May Queen? Maybe. I never said otherwise, but you know, these things are possible. And I think to me, that's what's most scary. And I think Jack Reynard, I think the horror within the horror, like you get the Midsommar horror, but then you get like the horror of Dani and her boyfriend are just like two really acidic people for each other. That's horrific as well. And I think that layer is really neat. So we did it at number 4. And
but whatever.
Really
Sophie's
good.
Seen it all. It's all boring.
Boring
Dumb
movie.
You're allowed to say that The Witch is boring, but I'm not allowed to say that Midsommar is boring.
We're just speaking truths here. It's all we're speaking
one of them's
truths.
true and one of them's not.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I have a number 2 pick. Oh, I kind of forgot
Yeah.
about that. Ooh, exciting. Okay. Oh, I feel like we're really back on track here.
Start.
So wait, but Ben, before you make your pick,
please.
Sophie, can I just ask you one quick question?
Sure.
Was it worth it? Does it feel good?
Yeah.
That consumed your
happen.
entire game, consumed your entire draft. But it feels
mean-
good. Okay.
Yeah, because this is what I knew was gonna happen coming in. Like this
Okay.
is probably my hottest take, and I recognize that, but I still think it belongs on the list. So I think it's perfect where it is because it encapsulates an average of what we all think.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Pretty good weighted average. Yeah.
I just realized though that was your last pick, Sophie, right?
hmm
Oh
Yeah,
wow! So you didn't do I Saw
know.
the TV Glow.
I didn't. And there's
Ouch.
another movie too that I would love to make the list, and it's not going to now. So I am sad
Did-
about that. But I don't know. I still think it belongs here is the thing. Like I think maybe my favorites don't encapsulate A24 horror, but that doesn't mean that I don't love them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Puts us in a real pickle that I Saw the TV Go might not make this list. Is kind of
Yeah.
where we're coming down to. I mean, I don't know. You've got the number 1 slot, so anything's possible.
And you have the second one, so
Yeah, I do.
anything's
And I'll be.
possible.
Oh,
I
I'm
could
just gonna
play
put
the
it out
3
now.
and help
I'm
you
gonna
both.
be playing Men at number 2. Watch out.
Oh my.
I'm just kidding. Maybe I don't know.
I mean,
Who knows?
Any like semblance of like anything on my face just like immediately left. Completely plain. Please don't.
Yeah. Please
That's
don't.
my plea. Please don't do it. Okay, Ben. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna channel my inner Ethan here and ask a question.
Ooh.
Okay.
You'll
Speaking
see.
of Alex Garland, is Ex Machina a horror movie?
I was
No.
curious about that myself.
Oh,
It was a
interesting.
question mark one for me.
Interesting. Well, let's go to the International Movie Database
Same could be asked.
and see what this says.
Same could be asked as Under the Skin. That was another one I wasn't sure about.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I would personally constitute Ex Machina much more of a thriller, and I would
Like First
constitute
Reformed, right?
Well, I didn't go that far. I didn't go that far. I
Okay.
just speaking about one movie here. Under the Skin, I would say is more horror or tilted.
Hmm.
I would not put Ex Machina on this list, and even if so, I think you had a much better shot at being like number 11, Ex Machina.
Yeah,
Maybe.
All right then. Just because I want to see what you guys are gonna do here, we're going back to back directors again, and I'm putting Hereditary at number 3.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That was going to be my number one.
yeah.
Oh, this is terrible.
Oh man, I am speechless.
I just wanted to open it up for you guys to play whatever you want at 2
To
and 1.
play what? Men?
I don't know. That's what I'm excited about. Throwing a little fun chaos in here.
Lamb?
I think I
Uh,
have an idea. I know that Ben wants Slice in the top 2.
The top pick. Yeah, exactly.
What is happening?
I just
What went wrong?
I didn't know how everyone felt, and I didn't know if either of you guys would play. You guys kept talking about I Saw the TV Glow so much, and I was going to play that defensively here at 3, but I want to let you guys
Should've done
speak on it in a way that you like. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I if you guys want me to do I Saw the TV Glow, I will. I guess I'm still talking about what I nominated, so we can change it because it's not locked in. But what do you guys want to do?
Well,
Are we not just having a repeat of what happened to Marta?
I mean,
yeah,
I
I
think
think
so,
you
yeah.
played it.
Right?
You
Yeah,
played
you
it.
played
It's
it.
too late.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love Hereditary. I think this movie is fantastic. It definitely needed to be in the top 3. Probably needed to be higher. But again,
You
like-
had that power.
Ben.
You
But-
could have done it.
but I can't rely on you guys to play it. That's the thing.
It was always gonna be.
Hey,
knows?
talk to us, Ben.
Who knows?
Collaboratively.
Who knows?
yeah.
But it's here at 3. I think this is fantastic. Toni Collette obviously should have been nominated. That's a travesty that didn't happen. Yeah, Hereditary, fucking one of the best, if not the best.
I've never
I'm speechless.
felt quite as deflated on this draft as I do now. This is intense.
wild.
Well, apologies.
I feel like
We
we
did
were
so
all
good for an hour and a
silent about
half.
it.
I know.
Yeah. But I feel
What
like
are
we
you
were
guys
silent about it
talking
because
about?
we knew
Yeah.
that one of
Yeah,
us would play it.
and
Gotcha.
Marta said earlier, she said she was going to play something that we all universally liked at one.
Well, that was before I think I spoke on I Saw the TV Glow, so I assumed that she thought we all liked that. My brain just got stuck on that. I just got freaked out about I Saw the TV Glow. I apologize.
Well, who knows?
But here we
what's
are.
gonna happen
He-
now.
I think this pick actually does make it a severe risk that I Saw the TV Glow doesn't make the list.
Interesting.
At
So it
least
does
from my
does
perspective.
the opposite of what I was trying to do.
Yeah, 100%.
To give you guys
yeah,
a slot to play your favorite movie of the year.
Okay.
Well, the issue for me personally now is looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5 that I have left.
Yeah.
One of them I really like, and then the other 4 were the picks that I put at the bottom of my list.
Oh
like
my God.
really
So we have
struggling.
one of those at the top.
So
Marta,
it-
I have a
amazing.
movie that I know we both like. So if you
Oh.
want to be collaborative, I can help out
Okay.
later.
I guess
Liter-
we'll see how it goes. I
Yeah.
may end up having to pick something that I personally don't even like.
Literally
Dang.
could have been collaborative and just been like, what do we all think about Hereditary? Where should we
I
play
don't
it?
like doing that. I know you like doing that, but I don't want to
I
like
know,
everyone's
I
opinion.
know.
But
That's true.
probably would have been smarter. But that's not how I like to do things. Just to do things smart, you know.
The thing is, I'm okay with it at number 3. It's just that so many other bold choices were made lower
Yeah,
that
Mm.
I would have put higher. That now it's slim pickings.
yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Sorry to put you in that position.
That's okay. It happens.
I hope you'll come back.
Me too.
Oh. Wow. Sophie, do you want to talk about Hereditary for a second? Would you have put this at number 1?
I would have. I think this is, I mean, it's one of my favorite horror movies, period. I think it's absolutely masterful work. It terrifies me. It has incredible performances. It probably shocked me the most out of any horror movie. I mean, I guess we're spoiling Hereditary here, but the telephone pole scene, just like absolute, like I had never gone into a movie like the marketing just made it seem like this movie is about this girl, and it's not.
Yeah.
And that I just like hadn't really experienced like movie marketing and then like that in that way, like expecting one thing and then getting something else. I just think the themes of grief are incredibly effective. I have talked many times with Marta and with you all about how I love movies surrounding grief, and I think that tackling it within a horror movie is really hard, and it's so effective here. Like it works so well. Grief is a terrifying process, and I think Ari Aster really masters it. I love this movie a lot, and yes, it would have been my number 1.
Agree with everything Sophie said.
Yeah.
Would have been my one too.
Yeah, me as well. Number 1. I haven't gone to many of the A24 IMAX showings and offerings that have been happening over the last 6 or 7 months. Uncut Gems and Hereditary. Those were the 2 that I made. Very, very specific intention to see Hereditary in IMAX. First time it was ever played on IMAX. This movie's fucking scary. It's just, there's no getting around it. It is fucking scary. In other fucking scary news, I thought I had number 2 sewn up, and I thought I could just be like, good luck, Marta, figuring out what number 1 is. Not my problem, not my job. And now we're toast. We're toast.
Unless you want to work together.
I always want to work together.
Collaborative.
Me too.
Okay, so do you want to talk this out? Do you want to figure this out? I feel like this might be the very first collaborative draft here on the show where we have had to actively and diligently talk about like where we want this list to end. I feel like it has always been competitive up until number 1.
I remember what I said, or was it like 5 minutes ago? That one of my 5 picks, well, I don't know about Ben, but Sophie and you like, and the other 4 I'm iffy about, and you probably don't want them at the number 1 spot.
Okay. How do we feel about maybe just like outlining like what our options
Can't keep.
are. How do we feel about
Like
maybe outlining
same?
what our options are? Do you think can we do that?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Do-
tear it up.
Would you like to go first?
That's not very collaborative of you, Marta. That's not very collaborative.
I think you leave I Saw a TV Glow for her at 1 and you pick something else for 2.
That's what I'm thinking we do.
Yeah. I think so.
Do you think
too.
you guys think that would be the wise decision here?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay.
Because otherwise, whatever's at 1 is just gonna be wild. The fact
I
it's
can
not
tell you what
Hereditary
your
is
options
crazy.
I don't know,
were
though.
for
Isn't that
after.
kind of fun? Wouldn't that be kind of fun?
Maybe.
Okay, Marta, spill it. What would be on the hook for number 1?
I would have personally put I Saw the TV Glow. But if it's not I Saw the TV Glow, do you want me to read them out to you?
Yeah, I think it's important we discuss.
Sure.
We have a conversation.
Okay. So the options that I had left are X,
No.
Saint Maud, Under the Skin, and then the very last one, it's a toss-up between Maxine, Lamb, or Enemy, if it counts.
You know how fucking cool it would be to just be like Maxine, the best A24 horror movie they've ever made?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
After we
wow.
didn't just
We can't
spend
do it.
4 minutes being like Maxine is dog shit an hour ago?
And
Okay,
Men wasn't
okay.
even an option. I'll put it out there. So
Okay, so this really puts me in a bad spot.
why though?
Well, because Men's an option, pretty good flick.
Do you
Shout out
actually?
Alex Garden.
And I'm not going to be mean, but do you actually like Men? Yeah.
Well, who
I liked
knows
it
where
better on the
who
rewatch.
knows where the bit ends and the reality begins?
Oh
I
my
couldn't
God.
tell you.
Anymore.
I genuinely enjoy Men. Yes, I think it's an entertaining film
Wow.
that is deeply flawed that gives some really great performances.
Respect you.
Okay, cool. So then let's keep working together to come up with number 1 and number 2.
Okay.
I think I Saw the TV Glow needs to be number 1. I think there's no way around that. We're all good on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you put out some good options for number 2. I would be inclined to pick Saint Maud, but just like I unfortunately think it's very much in the same vein as The Witch. Like I think it's such kind of boring.
Completely disagree.
Really?
Saint Maud is the movie I was talking about. I would have played this at 4.
Interesting.
I think it's kind of my Midsommar in the way that I think the themes of religion and like cultishness work a lot better for me within Saint Maud.
Could have played it at 4.
I could have.
You wouldn't be in this situation.
Okay,
I
so
like it. It was my number 12 out of the 15 that I had.
So, I mean, I think what we've really got left on the slate would be X. I do think Men is a possibility. I think It Comes at Night. We haven't
I
discussed
haven't
It Comes at
seen
Night.
that. So
I haven't
Okay.
either.
That would be terrible to play that number 2 then in that aspect. Saint Maud. Beau is Afraid. How are we feeling about Beau's Afraid?
I personally love Beau is Afraid, but I didn't even put it on my list because I didn't want to get pitchforks at my door.
you don't want people being like, oh, wow, you're a Beau truther.
Yes.
I don't think I would classify it as a horror movie.
And that as well, actually. Yeah.
But it's directed by a horror director. If you look at IMDb,
Sure.
it's comedy, drama, horror.
Mm,
Can you
Interesting.
imagine if we had Beau's
Letterboxd
Afraid,
didn't have
Hereditary,
one.
and Midsommar just all in a row?
The 3 Aries?
The 3 Ari Asters, 2 through 4.
Completely in opposite order as well.
Yeah.
That would be insane. Could be done. Could be done. Enemy, you mentioned Enemy. You mentioned Under the Skin. That's really about it, honestly. We've run out of options here.
Under the Skin seems like the most A24.
Yeah, I
to
was going
me.
to say,
Yeah.
that feels like an inspired pick.
It does, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Huh. Man,
and
I feel
Glazer's
like-
great, just as
Yeah.
a filmmaker in general. So
Well, I feel like that would be a pretty good representation of Glazer's journey with A24 as well. Like he takes 10 years in between making movies with A24,
Mm-hmm.
and he comes out with Under the Skin, a movie that like was pretty exceptionally reclaimed over the last like 3 to 4 years,
Mhm.
and then he comes out with Zone of Interest and wins Academy Awards and kind of changes the paradigm on like what's possible for that style of filmmaking. Yeah, I feel like Under the Skin might be the way to go.
I like that.
I agree.
Well, then again, Alex Garland has made a movie called Men.
Yes.
Sure.
All right. Let's go with Under the Skin. I feel like that's an inspired pick. I feel like that's pretty solid. Early days, A24. Movie comes out in 2013, way before people were like, A24 horror. And is probably one of the most frightening and horrific movies regarding the male gaze and the way the world works regarding relationships and sexuality, and aliens, in black rooms. Pretty sick flick. Okay, let's do it. Under the Skin, number 2.
I think it's a solid
What's
second
this?
place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels inspired. It kind of feels good. Kind of feels good to take a chance, you know?
This is actually working really well. I'm kind of surprised that we brought it back.
And then this is where Marta is like, In Fabric, number 1, movie we haven't talked about at all.
No, this is where I play Maxine. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, I saw the TV Glow. So,
Wow. Did
Wow,
we maybe
that's
get this
crazy.
right? Did we maybe get this right?
yeah. Now looking at Hereditary number 3, I'm
Like,
not
I
as
don't know.
mad. Although having it below Under the Skin is a bit bold, but
Yeah, it's bold for sure.
not the worst.
I think Tusk should have been higher. We should have been talking top 5, really.
Crazy.
Okay. Does anybody want to say anything about us? I saw the TV Glow. Obviously, I feel like a quite inspired pick here for the A24 collab draft, and what'll inevitably be the graphic for this movie. I kind of mentioned my 2 cents. I think it's just like a formative work of art for the 20th century or the 21st century, to be honest. And every time I watch it, I get something new. And I just can't think of something more masterful. At least that's come out this year, for sure.
Yeah. I agree with what you said earlier, Ethan, of I think it functions the same way as First Reformed. Maybe it has like the imagery is just darker. Like the movie takes place a lot at night and like on a football field. Like it's just like the vibes are a little bit different. So I think that's why it classifies more as horror. But I love this movie so much. I think it affected me in a way that I was so unfamiliar with. Like it just made me anxious. It made me scared. Like it's just, yeah, I really can't explain the ways that like this film affected me. Like I went on a walk after seeing this and just had to take like time to really reflect on what I had watched. There's just a lot to dissect here. But I think it's incredible. And I love that it made the list. I think it's fun that it's at number 1.
Yeah, I had a similar experience to Sophie. It's one of those, I feel like it falls under the category for me. I don't even want to say atmospheric horror, but the sort of horror that just kind of lingers in you. Like you watch it and you finish watching it and you're not necessarily scared. You're just kind of filled with this overwhelming sort of darkness and it makes you think. And that may be, in my opinion, one of the scariest types of horrors at all, right? So
Totally.
Yeah. I think, Ben, I do want your opinion, obviously, because it's number 1. It's a movie that you.
Oh no, I don't want to bring this down. I'm not going to be the last person to speak on this. No way. I'm not going to be no. My opinion's out there. I'm happy for you all that it's at number 1.
Yeah, I just sometimes best friends have different opinions, and that's okay. It's just a reality we have to agree with.
It happens,
It happens. I think the most horrific thing about this movie is the fact that the death of physical media and the way that we consume things that we love is tragic in all fronts. And then the way that that we just are streaming things brain dead, and that's how we remember things that we interact with is terrifying. So on that note, we've created a pod that will live in forever in longevity, and this list is something that will probably be talked about during the downfall of society of why we couldn't last as human beings. It's
or the end of the pod where we lose all of our losers or our listeners for like
yeah. This might be the last pod a lot of people listen to. And if that's you, I encourage you to come back and we'll try again. We'll try our best.
Do another shot.
We have some really good drafts coming up. Okay. Number 13, Talk to Me. Number 12, Pearl. Number 11, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Number 10, Tusk. Number 9, Climax. Number 8, The Witch. Number 7, The Lighthouse. Number 6, Green Room. Number 5, The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Number 4, Midsommar. Number 3, Hereditary. Number 2, Under the Skin. And number 1, I Saw the TV Glow. That feels like a really inspired list, and I'm kind of proud of the work we've put in today, guys.
It's unique, for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Very unique. Were there
so
any
many
movies?
of my faves are here.
Marta, yeah, well, you mentioned a lot of your favorites are here. I know you kind of mentioned the list as we were trying to figure out the tops. Was there anything you didn't mention that you think that you kind of either had hoped had made it the list or at least got a shout?
No, honestly, every single one that I really, really wanted to make the list made the list. So
Nice.
I'm very happy.
Okay. That's exciting. Anybody else have any recs that they wanted to shout out? Any honorable mentions?
Is there any that exists that we didn't talk about? I feel like we covered everything.
I think there's 3. Well, I mentioned Men. I mentioned It Comes at Night. I think is worth mentioning on this show for sure. I think High Life is worth just like in the conversation of like, hey, are you looking for a deeper A24 movie?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe check out High Life. Claire Denis, very kind of dystopian horror futuristic movie with Robert Pattinson. A lot of weird sex stuff in that movie. So if that's your thing, go find that movie. We mentioned Saint Maud, The Blackcoat's Daughter, Osgood Perkins, his first flick. I think is not great, but I think it's okay. I think it's pretty good. I mentioned In Fabric a couple times in jest. I actually think that movie's good. I like In Fabric. I think it's unique. I think it's a pretty cool movie that is not ever talked about in the constraints of the A24 horror genre. Slice is just maybe the worst A24 movie I've ever seen. So let's just...
It's rough. It's so rough.
So fucking bad. Enemy, we mentioned Enemy briefly. I think that's kind of it. I don't know, like Dream Scenario made it out for like their October re-release slate, which is kind of perplexing to me. I don't really find that to be a horror movie, but I guess maybe in the same vein as a First Reformed or I Saw the TV Glow.
Say, what does Men's Health think about it? That's what I want to know.
I want to know what the men's
what's
the staff take on that movie. Okay. Wow. Yeah. We've done it. We've created the A24 Horror Collaborative Draft. Marta, thank you so much for joining us here on the Movie Draft Podcast. If people want to find more of you, where can they find you at?
Instagram, TikTok, Marta.McFly, Letterboxd, Marta McFly, no period. And yeah, you can find everything else on my website, martadjo.com.
Yeah, definitely worth a follow. Marta's putting out incredible movie content all the time, especially with your weird Japanese horror that you've been watching as of late. I respect that, and I think that's really cool. Sophie, Ben, thanks for co-hosting with me, as always. You guys feel like we turned in a good pod or what?
A memorable one.
This was fun.
Yeah, this was a good time.
Wouldn't classify as good. Pretty good time, though. Be sure to listen and subscribe to the Movie Draft Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes will be released weekly on Tuesdays. We'll see you then.